Hi, my name is Ilana. I'm the founder of INC Capital, where we advise our clients on their global citizenship and residency by investment solutions. I want to talk a little bit more about the Greek Golden Visa today. It is one of the few European programs where you can still use real estate as a qualifying asset in order to apply for your residency. It's always been very popular over the years since Golden Visa started. People have this natural affinity for real estate. So it's nice to know that there is still one place in the world where you can use real estate to qualify for your residency permit. If we look at Greece, since the program launched in 2012, it's had hundreds of thousands of applicants. And the residency regulations changed, or the real estate regulations changed over the years to adapt to what the Greek market could sustain or what the government wanted. So the program changed again recently. And today, these are the types of real estate that you can invest in. There's three different categories: 250,000 euros, which is the lowest cost entry into the Greek market. And these are typically heritage projects where you're refurbing a heritage building, or where developers have bought up commercial property and they are refurbishing them and converting them for residential use. So you would buy a unit in one of these buildings for 250,000 euros. There's also a category for 400,000 euros where you can buy a freestanding home in any of the less densely populated areas of Greece or one of the smaller islands that has less than 3,000 inhabitants. The most popular option, though, for people that are actually looking for the next family home or looking for a bigger property, something that they can spend time in themselves, is the 800,000 euro category, where you can buy any home anywhere in Greece. It has to be a minimum size of 120 square meters, and it has to be one dwelling. So you can't make 2 or 3 property investments to get to your 800,000 euros. So that's the main way in which people can qualify for a Greek Golden Visa. Now, the next question is typically who can all be included in this application. So Greece is quite interesting in that, unlike many of the other programs in Europe, you can include your parents and your in-laws, regardless of whether they are dependent on you and regardless of their age. So the only requirement is that you can prove that they are your and your spouse's parents. So that's quite nice in terms of including older family members. If you want to include your children, you can include them up to the age of 21. And as they get older, they age out of the program. So if you include them, for instance, when they're 16 and 17, they can remain in the program for a period. But once they reach 21, or if they are full-time students in Greece, they can be included up to the age of 24. So this is a good residency program for people that have a very young family or people that want to include their parents. I think what happens when you apply for citizenship, though, is different. So typically, this is a residency program. It's not really seen as a natural route to citizenship for people, because in order to achieve citizenship, you have to relocate. You have to live in Greece. You have to live there for 7 years, which means that you become a taxpayer. So best get some tax consulting, tax advice on that point. And very important, you have to learn to speak fluent Greek. So you need a level B1 Greek certificate, plus you have to pass some citizenship tests. So it's quite an onerous route to become a citizen of Greece. But if that is what you want to do and you have an affinity for languages, then that is definitely one of the stronger passports that you can hope to receive. So it takes quite a while. You can apply after 7 years. It takes another 2 to 3 years before you naturalize. So you're looking at least at a 10-year period before you can call yourself Greek and have a Greek passport in hand. One of the things you have to consider is that healthcare in Greece is not free. You do have to have a minimum healthcare or health insurance policy when you make the application. And if you'd like to participate in the healthcare, you can make a contribution to the national healthcare service, and you can then avail yourself of the national health facilities. So Greece has very good healthcare. I've been on holiday there with my son. You know, things happen when you go on holiday with kids, and he ended up needing some medical care, and the service was really good. It was nothing too serious, but it's nice to know that these things are available. So this is kind of the short overview of how Greece works. Oh, very important, before I forget, is how does the actual residency permit get issued? The permit is issued for a 5-year period, and it's renewable every 5 years, without having any stay requirements. So unless you are going for citizenship, you do not have to spend any time in Greece in order to be allowed to renew your residency permit. So as long as you hold the underlying asset, you can renew your residency permit every 5 years. So a very flexible program. It's quite an easy process. The initial application takes a couple of months to put together, to choose the correct investment, to take ownership of the property, make your application. And once your application is made, you have to then visit Greece to go for your biometrics appointment. Biometrics, so by the way, is nothing onerous. It's not a big interview. You just have to present yourself at one of the centers where they take fingerprints, get a signature, take a photo of you, and that is then your biometric data captured in Greece. So once that happens, it takes a couple of months for your first residency card to be issued. And once you have that residency card, it looks a little bit like all of our ID cards. You can then travel with that card all through Europe. You get access to the rest of the Schengen countries. You can spend 3 months in any 6-month period in any other European country. Very important, once again, just like any other residency program in Europe, you cannot take this residency card and go and settle yourself permanently in any other European country. It gives you the right to live in Greece, and it gives you access to the rest of Europe for 3 months in any 6-month period. So excellent residency program. And there is a route to citizenship, albeit maybe a little bit challenging for a few people that don't particularly want to learn to speak Greek. So if you'd like to have more information, please do follow us. We'll expand on a few of these topics in the videos, and happy to answer any of your questions below. Thanks.